In this video, I will be going over some quick tips on how to improve your jump kicks and some steps you can take to make them easier, maybe a little bit less scary for you. I'm going to be covering a few different versions of jump kicks, actually all the ones I can think of off the top of my head. So we have our jump kicking with the fake, no spin. We have our jump kicking without a fake, no spin. We have our jump spinning with no fake, and we have two different ways to do a jump spin with a fake. So I'm just going to do a couple of the things that I go through when I'm learning a new kick or to make it better for myself. So let's start with the jump with a fake. All right, so our eat-on motion, our 1-2 motion. So that gives you a clue to how your body should move. It's a 1-2 or a double movement. Now, when doing any kick, you should know by now, if you're moving to jump kicks, that you should be chambering your legs as you move. If you're not chambering your legs for each kick, you have no business trying to jump. All right, I'm being very blunt on this one. If anybody out there is watching this and your chambers are not well above your belt, or at least in level, every single time you kick, you have no business attempting to do a jump, because your form is already flawed before you start, and that's where your difficulty is. So you need to go back to step one, practice your basic kicks, and make sure your chamber is there. And that's the last I'm going to say about chambering in that regard. So you know your chamber should be there if you're watching this video, because we're going to be doing something a little more advanced. All right, when you jump, you always want to jump up, not out. All right, the momentum for your jump kick has to be up to give you hang time to perform the rest of the kick. So I don't want to float towards my target. My target's already in the range that I need it to be. So when you're practicing at home, or you're just trying to visualize and just practice in place, make sure that you're driving your energy upwards. Some of the kicks you will do will drive you forward by the nature of the motion, but do not intentionally drive your motion forward. So I want to get that out of the way. Every time you do a new jump kick, you should try it without the kick first. All right, so if you're having trouble with it, do the motion of the jump kick without the kick. So let's start with the jump kick, the eat-on up-chalky style kick, or eat-on motion rather. And I mentioned eat-on up-chalky because it's the first jump kick we do, because it's the easiest one to start with. So when I do the jump, I need to drive my knee straight up. All right, so that's the back knee. The front knee has a job as well, because my front knee is my kicking knee. So when I do an eat-on kick, my front leg is the kicking leg. So to practice the jump without the kick, it's going to be knee. All right, 1, 2. I'm driving my knees up to the ceiling. 1, 2. All right, that exercise by itself will help you build the strength in your legs to perform the kicks, and it will build the confidence that you need in order to do the kick and make sure you're landing properly, because once you get that you're doing the jump with the 1-2 motion, it'll help make you realize that the landing isn't so bad. So one more time, the practice for the eat-on motion is both of my knees should be coming up 1, 2 in that motion. All right, so then I would add the kick to that. So the easiest one to do is the front kicks. First kick we learn when we start. So I'm going to bring my knee up, out. All right, again. So if I'm adding the kick, up, out. I'm driving my front kick in. So if you realize that if I was doing a target kick with a partner, and I should be able to still touch that target like I teach when we're doing basic kicks. I don't want to be way out to the end of the floor and be traveling, because I'm going to lose precious hang time that I need to do the kick before I land. That's part of it makes it a jump kick. Otherwise, this is a jump, land, then kick. Two different things. So that's your jump kick with the fake. Our next basic jump kick is without a fake. So bringing both knees up at the same time and switching positions in the air. So to practice that one without a kick, I'm going to bring my knee straight up and switch them. All right? And then I would do the same. All All right, that you should know is your Dea motion, your no faking motion. All right, again, my knees are coming up. Both of my knees are coming up because one is helping me drive, the other one is going to be the kicking leg. And so if I bring them up at the same time, it also helps me land better too with the soft landing. So if I do it with the front kick, drive that front kick up when I get in range of the target. Good. And something I didn't mention with the eat-on motion applies to this just as well. If I want to start branching out to kicks that pivot my hips over, as I do the practice, if I'm not comfortable doing the kick yet, then I just bring my knees up and I turn. So then I get my hip ready for a round kick. As I get more comfortable with that, I throw the kick. So again, I'm doing the jumping motion without the kick to get comfortable with the jump, to build the leg strength, to build the confidence. So after I get that and I'm more comfortable with it, I'm going to start throwing the kick. And so those are the first three you should start with when you're learning jump kicks. Eat on and Dea, all right? With a fake and without a fake. Explosive power on both of them. Knees are driving towards the ceiling, not towards your target. So then the next category of jump kicks is our jump spinning kicks. So jump spinning kicks off the top of my head are like jump spinning crescent, jump wheel kick, jump hook kick, jump back kick, all right? I usually start people off with a jump back kick or a jump crescent kick. They're both around the same range. To practice it without the jump, I need to bring my knees up, turn my body so that my back leg becomes my front leg. I'm turning towards the back shoulder on this one. Knees are coming up, so I'm preparing my legs for kicking, which means I have to chamber them as I turn. And through. I only have to go 180 degrees because I need to get the back leg to the front position. And that's the kicking leg. All right, so there's, again, the other thing you need to remember, when you're doing any kind of spin, you need to whip your head around to get your body around. Well, it's even more important for a jump spin because you're in the air and you only have so much time up there. So as soon as you lift, that head needs to fly around and spot your target. So one more time for practice, I'm going to drive the knees up to my chest as high as I can, whip my head around. All I have to do is get my back leg to where my front leg is. All right, turning towards the back shoulder. Okay, so the one I would start with after you're comfortable with the jump spin is the 180 back kick and the 180 crescent. They both fall in about the same range because you're used to doing a back kick, and the crescent kick, you don't have to turn your hips over. So the 180 back kick, I'm going to drive my knees up, do my turn, fire my kick off as soon as my chamber's up, and land. My 180 crescent kick, I'm going to fire up, and this one I can follow through a little bit, so I don't have to control as much as because I'm not making a straight line. I can use the momentum of the turn for this one. So when I jump straight up, whip the leg out and through. All right, and then if you're having trouble with these spins and as you jump, break it down into steps. So maybe again, you need more leg strength. Go back to practicing the kick without the jump without the kick rather. And then if you're knocking that jump off really easily, but then you add the kick and it gets scary again, it might be just a mental thing. So for instance, if you're doing the jump back kick, break it down a little bit. So maybe just pivot so that your back is facing, explode up, driving your knees up. And that'll break that down and help break down the fear so that you can jump from this position, okay? Same with the crescent kick. I can get maybe a part of a turn, jump up, and then come through, and that'll give me the confidence as I go so that I can jump and kick with that back leg. But ultimately, you want to be able to kick from your fighter stance. So keep practicing the jump without the kick until you get the confidence and the strength to do the whole thing with the kick included from fighter position. So that's the jump spin without a fake. Jump spin with a fake. Two versions. One version is I'm going towards my back. The second version is I'm going to go towards my front. So towards the back version, kicks like tornado kick and jump spinning around kick that we use in our number 3 one step are this one. So to practice this without a kick, I'm going to bring my knees up chamber because it's a faking motion. All right, so it's a 1-2 motion. E is 2. So when I do my jump turn, my back knee is going to pop up, start the lift, and then the front leg is going to end up doing the kick. But I need to chamber it to kick. So to practice it, 1, 2, and it comes around. You notice I move forward a little bit. I'm spinning, but I'm driving up. So I'm not flying towards the down the floor. I'm moving forward a little bit because that's where my spin takes me. So I'm going to drive up, 1, 2. All right, refine my spin a little bit better on that one and move quite far forward. So crescent kick is the easiest one to apply once you're confident with the jump because you don't have to turn your hips over. You just have to have a proper foot position. So to do the crescent kick, I would apply my jump, throw my kick off my front leg from here. Okay, one more time. Snaps through. Now if you go to add the kick and you're having some issues, but your jump was fine before, it might again be a mental block where your landing gear isn't exactly where you want it to be because you're doing a kick now. So we'll break that down into steps. So to do this jump turn, I would start by bringing my knee up to a point where I was comfortable jumping and coming through. So I'm about maybe quarter of the turn to do the jump. And then maybe next time I start a little bit earlier to come through. I'm going to keep doing that process until I get to a point where I can do it for fighter stance. Okay? And then that's if you can do the jump turn without the kick with no problem. We add the kick and there's an issue. Now, if I want to branch out my kicks, I'm going to start back at step 1, and I'm going to do my jump faking motion with the spin. But this time I'm going to turn my hip over as if I'm going to do a round kick. So I'm going to practice without the kick first. As I come over where my leg is up in that position to do my round kick. Again, one more time, that would look like. Here you see I'm really throwing my shoulders over and getting my leg ready to kick. So now when I'm ready to practice, fire my round kick out and through. If I throw my round kick out and I'm not kicking on target, I would go back and I would start dialing back when I jump. So I might jump later and later each time until I get to a point where I can do my jump from my fighter position. So that's jump tornado motion, faking towards the back. So the last kick we're going to do, last type of kick we're going to do is jump faking towards. So I'm driving my knee across my body. So 360 back kick is the biggest one that we use for this type of motion. Black belt level kick. A lot of people use this for braking. It's an awesome break. You can turn this into a 360 hook kick. Possibilities are really endless once you have the jump down. So what you need to do is you drive your knee up across your body and then through, chambering. So to practice the jumping motion without the kick, I'm going to chamber, driving across the front of my body now. One more time, chamber. I'm jumping up. The motion takes me forward. Right, that's going to happen, but you want to try to concentrate as much of your energy up as possible to give you the hang time to do the kick. So the easiest one to do for this one, to practice the kick now, is the 360 back kick. So the knee comes up, I turn, as I'm up in the air, I'm chambering and I'm firing the back leg. So it's going to be chamber, as I'm up in the air, chamber, fire, in that motion. Okay, one more, 1, 2, and fire. If I'm having trouble, because now I've added a kick, I've added an extra element, if I can get all the way around with the jumping without the kick, and I've got the leg strength, and you get over the mental block. So what I'm going to do, bring it up to about part way. This is a great exercise to increase your jumping. I'm going to drive the knee up from this position and kick off the base leg. So that's a way to practice until you build confidence so you can get to kick from this position. And if I want to branch out, I would do maybe a jump 360 hook kick. So a jump 360 hook kick, To practice without it, I need to turn my hip over a little bit. So I'm drawing my knee up to come through with my knee where my hip is in position better. And then as I get better and more comfortable with that, I'm going to turn that into the kick. So I'm going to fire the kick. 1, 2. And I've got the hooking motion to come through. So again, I could do the same type of thing where I put the knee up, hold that position, and then fire. So those are the steps I would use to increase your jumping skill. But as I said in the beginning, if your chamber is not there, if you are not chambering before every single one of your basic kicks, you need to go back and practice your basics. Because you can't jump, you can't fly until you can walk. So make sure that you're doing your basic kicks properly so that you don't have to remind yourself to chamber. Right? That has to happen automatically. And then work on your explosive power to get up in the air. All right. Hope this one helps. I want to see everybody flying through the air for your jump kicks. Thanks for watching. Tang Soo.